session that we are dealing with, Rising Stars, is about all those entrepreneurs who took a plunge, who had the courage to believe in themselves. And today, what they're expecting is that we listen to them, what they're bringing to the market, the disruption they are going to create, the product that they're going to bring to make our life easier or maybe world a better place to live. So on that note, I will have my first founder on the stage coming up. So in next 3 hours, what we're going to do is, and maybe it'll be shorter, we'll have 10 minutes for every founder up on the stage, okay? And they will have 8 minutes to present. And I'm sure you all have beautiful voices. If you have any questions for them, please do ask them, because that will make sure that you understand what they're doing. And the whole reason we want them to be here is because they're rising stars. We want to make sure they are the next stars on the technology horizon to make this place better for us and our next generation. On that note, I'll invite our first speaker, Srinath Ravichandran. Srinath is a CEO and co-founder of Agnikul Cosmos. Oh, that's a lot of adjectives altogether, am I right? I'm so sure people might be picking up a dictionary while figuring out what this is. And his journey is a unique blend of Wall Street, aerospace, combining over a decade of expertise in engineering, finance, and project management. He holds bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from the College of Engineering and dual master's degree in financial engineering from Columbia University and another in aerospace engineering from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. That's a lot, am I right? If I meet my 15-year-old son, I'll say, hey, I found an ideal for you. On that note, Ravi, please come on the deck and it's all yours. All yours for next 8 minutes, and then we want some Q&A from you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about what we are building in Chennai, actually, in India. We build rockets in this company called Agnikul Cosmos, rockets that can take small satellites to space. I thought more than talking about the company and presentation and all that, the video about our first launch that we did recently, we'll talk more about the team and all the people who came together for that. So let that be, that's a 4-minute video, so let that consume 4 minutes. But before that, just 2 minutes, I want to talk about what are we doing that probably no other rocket company in the world is doing, right? And I know this section, a lot of people are talking about AI and other technologies, but hopefully this is a refresher of a presentation in that sense. So if you look at rockets in general, and I think we are all aware of Falcon 9 from SpaceX, it's a huge rocket, the carrying capacity of about 22 tons to low Earth orbit, right? And we then saw, and they've been very successful, and by the time about 2016-17, we saw that there were a lot of small launch vehicle or rocket companies that came up, and all these people had one thing in common. They wanted to build a small size Falcon 9. And even though that's engineering-wise possible, it becomes economically almost infeasible to support from a pricing standpoint. So all the problems about getting a small satellite to orbit still exist until today, actually. So what we believe at Agnikul is a small rocket is not simply a shrunken version of a large rocket. There are certain things that only small rockets can do. There are certain things only large rockets can do. And let us hit hard on what makes sense as a small, rocket. So we came up with a bunch of technologies where the entire rocket and the launch pad, they're all mobile. We can take the whole thing in 40 feet cargo containers, go to any authorized launch location in the world, launch it from there. The entire rocket can be made in less than 3 to 4 days. The entire rocket is reusable, of course. And the concept of having a vehicle where, you sort of have a shrinkable system. When you take a very small satellite, you should have a very low power rocket. Just like a laptop, which is only going to be used for browsing, will not need too much RAM. And the same architecture's laptop can be extended to make it, high power computational with more memory or more processing power. Very similar approach to building rockets. The rockets should be shrinkable and scalable in a very granular way. So that's what we have been building. It's been 7 years now, hard to believe. I don't know, somehow we still get by calling ourselves as a startup, but I think it's been 7 years now. And we're on to commercialization in that sense, because the first flight that we did was a successful flight. It was a flight from our own private launch pad in India. And with that, we now know how to put all the technologies that we've built to actually serve customers. So on that note, just wanted to play this quick video, and maybe after that, we can just wrap it up with that. Can we please play the video that I had shared?
All stations, standby for the time are T-minus 6 hours and counting. All stations to note, countdown commenced for Agnivan sorted mission with a scheduled lift-off time at 5:45 hours IST on 20th May.
RSO confirms go for launch.
ED authorizing for launch.
Based on Agnikul vehicle readiness and range readiness, Test Director hereby authorizes the launch of Agniborn Sorted 1001 mission.
Confirming ALS initiated.
10, 9, 8, 7.
MCC took control, confirming even 5. Completed. 4. MCC took confirming engine method. 2, 1, 0.
Integration confirm.
Plus 5 seconds.
Liftoff confirm.
Plus 10 seconds. Plus 15 seconds. Plus 20 seconds. Plus 25 seconds. Plus 30 seconds.
Maneuver happened. Wind biasing is completed.
Plus 1 minute.
The launch of Agniborn Sorted 01 mission from Agnikul is completed.
That this is world's first single piece 3D printed semi-cryogenic engine.
It's historical, you must all realize. It's not just a launch of a sounding rocket based on liquid engine.
So thanks to the government, thanks to InSpace and all the support for actually allowing for a framework. So I don't think this would have been possible without InSpace and ISRO.
From the launch pad, which is built by not only the launch, but also the launch pad is built by Agnikul team.
We had a very good launch as predicted.
the video never gets old for playing. We played a lot of times for a lot of different people, but what comes out, I think, is the amount of effort the team has also put in. So thank you everyone again for this opportunity. Would love to talk to you all again after the session as well. But yeah, hoping to get all your support as we go ahead.
Hello? Yeah, thank you. I'm Dr. K.R.S. Murthy. I'm the one who presented the first satellite proposal to Indira Gandhi, myself, under the watchful eye of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai.
Great.
It was called Rohini satellite.
Oh, okay.
First one. And then actually Rohini was upgraded later for Aryabhata, where I also worked on 3 more satellites. And then also for space shuttle, I did the scientific experiments for the first space shuttle as well.
Great.
In a way, similar to what you did at your age and so on. And how many entrepreneurs like you are there in the aerospace today in the industry, and what are the benefits that the government provides you, etc., etc., and then what's the value you see going forward? Thank you.
In India now, I think we have about 100 plus startups is what in the space sector. I think the policy opened up starting from 2020. So now we have a new body called InSpace, which is actually the equivalent of what FAA is doing here for authorizing launches and operation of satellites and all that. They are doing that in India now. So a lot of that is coming. The government is very supportive. I think India is very clear that a lot of work is happening in India, but India is not getting enough global share in the private industry globally. So all of these efforts are about allowing for that to happen. So a lot of good work happening in the countries. The funding model, it's a transportation business, transportation to space, so it's dollars per kg. Depending upon how much mass we take to orbit, we charge customers in terms of dollars per kg. That's the model.
Are you bootstrapped or is VC funded? Or?
Yeah, we have been funded by VCs. We raised 4 rounds of funding, total of about $45 million so far. Yeah, looking for another round of fundraise as well now as we speak.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Always. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I think so we have set the bar really high with the Rocket Man over here, but it's just going to go more interesting from here because next coming on stage is Sam Tyagi. Sam is an entrepreneurial powerhouse behind Clear Knowledge Corporation. As the founder and CEO, Sam has been at the forefront of transforming global logistic and customs processes. Now you know why you'll get things easier in all the stores around you. His vision, a platform that leverages AI and cloud technology to cut through the complexities of cross-border trade. Clear now isn't just another logistics tool. It's a game changer that streamlines custom clearances and supercharges supply chain visibility all in real time. I will not go further because that's Sam's job to explain how awesome he is. On that note, I have Sam Tyagi for you. Here's your clicker. See if this works for you as your logistics platform.
Thank you. Oh boy, it's so tough going behind rocket science. While we send technology to space, we still need to move goods. Can we put the presentation on? Oops, went too far back. Can you go back, please? Yeah. Okay. This is one of the busiest ports in China, Yantian port. As you can see, the goods that we consume on a daily basis gets moved in a lot of containers. And so my name is Sam Tyagi. I'm the co-founder, CEO, and with me is Anand, Raghavendran. He's our Chief Product Officer, so any deep tech AI questions you may have, point it towards him. Any funding checks, I'll take it. So basically what we have done is, what people don't realize is the goods that you find in your neighborhood goes through a lot of hand-holding and the partners that come from China or anywhere else to the store next door. And the complexity that we see out there is every partner works on unstructured data. So let me give you an example. The factory in China, for example, is making sofas or couches or whatever the case may be. They will create a packing list, commercial invoice, a declaration form, and any other government forms in PDFs. Send it on to Maersk, who is moving the goods for them from China port to Oakland port, for example. They will create a bill of lading after ingesting all that information and making them structured. And they will give a bill of lading, which is the boarding pass, to that container, again in PDF. This process continues 10, 12 times. So if there's a mistake, that multiplies all the time. So we figured out there's an issue. We figured out that there's a technology that actually can help and really making this streamlined. So we started in 2017 whiteboarding and coming up with solutions using AI. We can process at high speed a lot of different documents and make it contextualized to shipment. So that means all these disparate emails can now be actually contextualized, and we can derive insights out of that and also make customs clearance very simple. But not only that, I'll give you some examples. We have a customer in oil and gas. They are in 100 countries with us. In Houston, they can actually see on a daily basis what's happening in, whether it's in China or an African country, and they can see what goods have been delayed, what goods have been held for penalties, or are there any other delays that is happening or cost that is happening on those. This kind of information resided only in supply chain folks' email, and now this is global for them. So in a way, we are extending the ERP, which only resides between your enterprise, to the supply chain ERP in global trade space. So the ultimate goal for us is making global trade resilient, so that way you have less cost, you have visibility, and you can actually do global trade in a much, much seamless way and focus on the benefits that it provides. We are a 6-year-old company. We have done a lot of, we've done Series B funding. We'll be going for Series C funding next year. And we have done around 60 million emails that we have actually parsed and taken information out. Over 15 million documents from that, over 10 million customs line entry that we have processed, and over 71,000 different documents that we can blindly just derive all the insights out of it. So a lot of technology involved in that for us technology company. So the way we look at supply chain, we benefit our customers in 4 areas. One is the physical movement of the goods. Where is my stuff? So by just sitting on their emails, we're able to tell where their containers are and what is in those containers, and are they delayed or not. Second is the compliance piece, the customs entry. Are they done right? Is your compliance broker doing the right stuff or not? Are you subjected to any penalties, or are you subjected to any other government agencies that you should be forming and applying for? Third is the financial piece. How much is it costing me? And the fourth is collaboration. So how do I take this information, pass it on to the trucker who's going to pick it up from the container port? So if we can actually solve this, a lot of the technology that is needed, every handoff actually takes care of itself, and now people can collaborate, and then the whole supply chain becomes very, very smooth. So, in 6 years' time, we have over 2,000 customers. We have the second largest retailer as a customer of ours, Schlumberger, BASF, Xylem, Sumitomo tires. Every tire that you see from Sumitomo, we actually import for them. So good customers, they benefit a lot. Most of the customers will tell us that they will benefit from saving time, saving money, and combination of both. But more importantly, we take friction out of the supply chain. That way they and their customers can actually benefit from it. So it's been a great journey. We've built some fantastic technology. Anand and his team has done a fantastic job in really taking the AI ML to the next level. When we started in 2017, 2018, Sandhill did not understand why you need AI in supply chain. And now you cannot find a supply chain company without AI in their name. So we were one of the first guys. We were pioneers. We were early stage, we believed in this, we took a plunge, and we said if we need to scale at a global basis, we need the technology to help. So that's where we are today. Quick presentation, any questions, please feel free.
We are our own platform. We do connect with other platforms for certain use cases, but most of what we talked about here is fully on our own platform.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll repeat the question.
In supply chain, what industry domain are you focusing or you're not focusing? Because telecom supply chain, there are standards called TL 9000. If you are familiar with that, it's the supply chain standards, benchmarking, etc., etc. Automotive, there is this AAS, etc. series. And so, which of them and how are you conforming to the supply chain standards, for how the benchmarking is done, how it is done? I can tell you I'm the founder of the TL 9000 as well.
We can certainly understand, based on the question that you asked. So our focus is more on a subdomain within supply chain, which is cross-border commerce, global trade. Anytime there is a movement of any cargo between one country to another, that's kind of where we are. So we help companies comply to government regulations, customs filing, and any other associated compliance requirements that they would have to meet in moving the cargo from one country to another country. So we are, from that perspective, as long as there is a need to move from place A to place B and that goes across international boundaries, we have a place to play. So we are industry agnostic. So we don't restrict ourselves to, as you said, telecom, or because everybody still complies to the same set of regulations, and that's kind of where we play.
So for example, yes. Yeah. So for example, in customs clearance, when you bring in goods, there are two parts. One is the customs clearance itself, and then there's partner government agency, FDA, EPA, stuff like that. There are 49, 59 of them. We are connected to both of them. So a customs broker will file standard customs entry and will also file a PGA with it. And our platform will seamlessly integrate with both of them. So we are in the technology to ease movement of goods. We don't physically move goods. Okay, it's like Uber, right? They're in the technology of moving people. We are in the technology of moving goods. And so anytime you go to the groceries or you buy something, we may have played a small role somewhere.
To specifically answer your question, our standards are governed by the government regulatory bodies. So, like if we are moving goods into US, it is the standards are set by US Customs, and that's what we follow. We are conforming to the standards that are set by, again, each government, each country has their own regulations, and they don't comply to, as you say, the ISO standards. So it is country-specific regulatory standards is what we comply by. There was a question there, and then one here.
Great presentation. Just wondering if warehouse management or efficient warehouse management falls into your realm or not, and if there's been any effort done to optimize that. I have some ideas. We can talk later on.
So we partner with warehouse partners, but we don't get into the realm of warehouse management. Ours is about global trade management and creating resiliency around global trade management. But the structured data can be passed on to warehouse so that they can actually leverage that. Once again, they're one of those dozens of partners that actually help move goods. And instead of them structuring it again and again and again, they can basically collaborate on our platform. And ours is the first platform that was built for BCOs, beneficial cargo owners, which is importers and exporters. Most of the softwares that you see outside, they're built for a custom broker or a freight forwarder. So it is a different lens. We took a very different lens. Collaboration was our main fundamental principles that guided us how we made the platform. So once we structure it one time, every partner, including government agencies, can reutilize that data in a structured manner. Yes.
which make your platform a bit better? Because I have some ideas there. So follow on, please.
100%. We have partners already. So, for example, tracking the goods, the physical movement of goods, we are integrated with marine traffic, P44, everybody. So we have like 7 of them, but we are better than all of them combined because we have the SKU level detail, which is in the commercial invoice and packing list. They don't have that. So our customers are able to get on our platform. They not only know which containers got delayed, but what was in the container. Yes.
You talked about compliance, right? And there are quite a few companies doing compliance AI. So is there something unique about what you are doing as far as getting this compliance work done?
So let me make sure I understand your question. You're saying there are many other companies that work on compliance, and how are we different? Is that your question? So again, there are players and a lot of players in the market, but everybody is focused on, the core problem that we solve as we started this presentation is we take unstructured sources of information and create a meaningful structure of it. Compliance is a byproduct of that. So every other player in the market is still dependent on either complex EDI data moves, which requires a lot of IT spend, a lot of technology investment. And we here say, send us an email and you will have your data. I think that is what sets us apart, because end of day, a customs filing is a customs filing. It is the same data elements that everybody has to comply to. How you get there and create that with ease is where I think ClearNow makes a difference. Thank you.
We have another question there.
Oh, there was one more question, okay.
Any experience with semiconductor industry? If you can highlight that.
I didn't hear the question.
Any experience with semiconductor industry?
Again, as I said, we are pretty agnostic to industry, but we do work with a lot of, we put names out there. A lot of names we were not able to put there because of either, confidentiality or, requiring permission. But we do a lot of work with semiconductor and the technology industry.
Yeah, we're getting into pilot with a company, very high-tech company, which is a fruit. So that is all I can say. Thank you, Ram. Thank you all for giving us an opportunity to present. This is our use case. Thank you.
Who knew just getting those packages in our house takes so much work? Thank you, Sam, making sure they will reach without any custom hassles. And maybe if you have teenage kids who are ordering a lot of brand ripoffs from China, thanks to him, you'll be paying less for that. On that, bigger round of applause for Sam Tyagi. We're going to change gears here a bit. We're going to move from the world of customs to the world of biotechnology, because next, coming on the stage with us is Jagath, the president and CEO, co-founder of Aarvik Therapeutics. Jagath is a true rock star in the biotech world. With over 2 decades of trailblazing in drug discovery, Jagath has left his mark from Stanford to gene tech, where he pioneered groundbreaking antibody drug conjugates. Well, I didn't know that I have so much vocabulary in bio. Thank you, Jagath, for that. He's not just a scientist, he's an inventor who redefined cancer treatment with the novel ADC technology. Aarvik Technologies, under his leadership, is now spearheading the charge against solid tumor cancers with their state-of-the-art ADC platform. Fresh off a major licensing deal and a 15 million Series A round, Jagath is just making the waves that we needed here today. Thank you for coming, Jagath. He's making the future for all of us better. Without any delay, Jagath, big round of applause. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Upasana, that very nice introduction. Highly appreciate it. And thanks, Ram and Evolve team for inviting us to showcase what we are up to at Aarvik. Okay, could you go to the next slide, please? I can forward it myself. All right, so I'm sure all of you, including myself personally, are aware of what is cancer, and we all affected by that. And I lost my mom also for the cancer. It's a beast. It's not a single disease. It is actually diseases of diseases. So it is very, very difficult to treat. And again, we have been making excellent progress past especially 10, 15 years, but we are not there anywhere close to the cures. And you can think about it, any cancer patient, they start with the chemo. And you all know how the chemo works. It's very random. Okay, sorry. It's very random. It kills normal cell, it kills cancer cell, but it's very potent. It still works. Then we moved on to antibody therapies, and they're called precision medicines, but they are not potent enough. And then we went to immunotherapy. It's been doing some wonders, but only works for some of the patients. Then we went to cell therapy. Of course, it's very powerful technology, but only known to work in blood cancers. But of course, it's very expensive and long-term challenges or safety issues with the cell therapy. So what we are here to learn about ADCs in long antibody drug conjugate. So what we are doing in ADC, basically, you're taking a chemo, attaching it to an antibody, and making a good benefits of both chemo benefit as well as antibody benefit, making a very precise medicine. And I'm sure the news are all over there past several years, even though ADC concept is not new, over 30-year-old, but past few years it's been making a lot of waves because of that one drug called Enhertu, which is from Daiichi Sankyo and AstraZeneca. And why? Because it's doing extremely good with the breast cancer patients. So, but that's just the beginning. If you go to the next slide, and again, that's the evolution of cancer therapy. Basically, you start very early on, 97, rituximab is done very good for non-Hodgkin lymphoma patients. Then went to trastuzumab, done very well for Herceptin. And then, because of the antibody engineering technologies improved, ADCs came in the limelight using a first-generation ADCs, where they used a potent cytotoxic payload attached to the antibody. That's what we got at Cetris, brentuximab vedotin, and then Kadcyla, that I was part of Kadcyla team at Genentech, which is approved drug for breast cancer. And later on, then we have a second-generation drug called Enhertu. What they have done is they changed the payload, chemo payload, which make it wonderful things. But the future is third generation. What is that? How does the third generation payload look like? But as you've seen last year itself, we have a $100 billion transaction for various companies being acquired in this arena, actually, starting from Enhertu milestone, Enhertu acquisition, asset acquisition, and then Gilead buying Immunomedics, and Pfizer buying CR Genetics. Almost $100 billion acquisitions happened last year itself. So what are the main challenges? Again, if you look at the top of the cream, basically, the Enhertu, Trodelvy, and few other ADCs, they work because of a high copy number on the cell surface. When you have a cancer cell, there are certain receptors on the cancer cell where these antibodies bind to it. It's very important to target those receptors, and the receptor copy number is very, very important. Almost you have 1 million copies to 50,000 copies. But the molecule they're currently taking into the clinic, they have a very low copy number. How do you actually target them? And this is the unmet need, and this is what we need to solve the puzzle if you want to target every cancer out there, basically. And what is Aarvik is trying to do, actually. Again, we all know we have two hands, right? Have you ever thought about you had your 4 hands, basically, because we love multitasking. And that is the concept. Regular antibodies have 2 hands, basically. That's 2 arms, they do a single function. But what Aarvik is trying to do, we're building a 4-hand molecule. This is called tetravalent. We call them as the tetramab, tetravalent multispecific antibody. That's not only the 4 hands, but 4 different functions. And now we're combining with 1 or 2 different functions of small molecule and making it truly a multifunctional antibody drug conjugate to combat the cancer, which is a very difficult disease to treat with. So that's why it's important to have a multifunctional characters coming from antibody as well as small molecule. And for that, obviously, we need to have a wonderful team, and I was fortunate to collaborate with my other co-founder who is sitting in the audience, Dr. Dev Sidhu. He is a world-renowned entrepreneur, and he is a serial entrepreneur, and he has had multiple companies started and exited, and a couple of them are Pioneer, iBio, and Antlara, and currently is working with Simisco and Aarvik and Epoch. the three companies we are working together. But we are not the only two people. We brought a world-class team from starting from protein engineering to chemists, biologists, and manufacturing experts, and project management, and all that entire team with multiple large pharma biotech companies experience, basically. And what are we trying to do? And again, as I said here, our goal is to make it, the drug is very, very efficacious in a very smallest possible dose that we call as MED. So to make that happen, we go through many different check boxes. You know, can we add a function, additional function? How are we doing? Because of multi-arm, multifunctional antibody, we use that. And we also make sure when it binds the cancer cell, it gets inside the cell to bomb the chemo. And that we call internally. How do you improve that? That's what our multifunctionality improves it. Then positioning of these binders, geometry and valency, and which linker to use, and how do we diversify the payload. All these different 6 things we optimized past 2 years to make it very effective drug. And this platform actually stemmed from wonderful technology, came from Dr. Sidhu's lab actually. So in fact, one of the assets he licensed before Aarvik started went into iBio. iBio was acquired by Merck for $3.2 billion a few months ago. Then another company started, Antlara, was acquired by Roche. So this same format stemming from that and using those formats were used for ophthalmology indication. Now we are using for oncology indications. So it's validating, externally it's validated by large pharma. And not only that, our own molecule was recently out-licensed to a publicly traded company called Arrivant Pharma. So with all that validation, we are super excited to take this further. And we validated this program, at least the platform, 4 different molecules, and they're currently under investigation. And I don't need to, for the interest of time, I'm not going to go through all that. And, but what we have done, importantly, past 2 years, we engineered the multifunctional biologics, and we optimized the linker payload. We very precisely, we conjugate the small molecule to the antibody, and we improved how this antibody get inside the cell. We showed improvement in the potency, we showed improvement in the efficacy. More importantly, the PK is very good, and the safety is also very good in the monkeys. So in other words, if you look at where we are today, and this is where we are going to be, a broadened window, we're improving the safety, we're improving the efficacy, and that's what is going to be truly a next generation antibody drug conjugate will hopefully we'll find the better cures for the cancer. So again, that just like everyone else, we use big data and AI to identify these cell surface receptors in the cancer. There is millions of patient data out there. We use all our data using computational biology tools and identify the receptors and then align them carefully. And we came up with 9 different programs, and we're using all these 9 programs. We already validated the high copy number pair and a low copy number pair. Now we have all the programs fall in between and using all these molecules to pretty much target every possible cancer. So again, you may think, where do we land here? Basically, again, 3 years ago, we raised our seed round, and we are just opened our Series A. And again, our valuation looks like, in 2 to 3 years from now, it will look like one of these companies, pretty much anywhere from $500 million to $1 billion range, they are acquired for a single assets. But we are building a platform of molecules here. We think we will be in that range in 3-4 years from now, depending on how we are going to raise the money to get into that stage. But that's what we are trying to focus in the company. And this is what our pipeline looks like currently. And the first lead program was out-licensed to our partner program, which is AV03, which has already completed the monkey tox studies and which showed improved therapeutic window, and it's lined up to go into the clinic. Then our next molecule we are getting for in vivo validation ready, and there series of molecules we built it using AI tools and big data tools, identify 9 different programs, and we are actually in the process of assembling those molecules currently for in vitro as well as in vivo validation. So with that, and thank you, I'm happy to take the questions.
Can you hear me? We need a bigger round of applause. I think so. No one here sitting who hasn't have a family member or a friend who's not stricken by cancer. Dr. Sidhu, if you can stand there too, as much as I like the number of valuations you had over here, but the work you both are doing deserves a big round of applause from all of us. Thank you for that, and now please go ahead with the questions.
Sorry that I'm asking too many questions because I'm very curious. I'm a kid in a candy store. Dr. Reddy helped me to be that way today. Are you doing PMA or no 510K, right? In what you are doing? Most of what you are doing is PMA in terms of the approvals and so on?
BLA, you mean to say?
Okay, yeah, similar, yeah. The original application is what you're doing.
That's correct.
You're not repeating someone else.
Yes, no, absolutely.
In terms of all this modeling in AI, even I'm using AI in a loose way. Everyone uses the word AI. What kind of modeling are you being able to do? Because it's very, very difficult because of the different folding, etc., etc.
No, Dr. Murthy, we are not using AI to identify the drugs. What we are using AI to identify the targets and the cancer tissues, basically. Because there is millions of patient data is there already. We use AI tools to identify the receptors on the cell surface. What we do, we engineer the drugs in the laboratory. Dr. Sidhu is, again, world-renowned protein engineer, and we do this in the lab. We don't use AI for that, actually.
Okay.
So
it's all lab work.
Yes.
Okay, good enough.
Yep. Our next speaker here is a titan of technology, Bhaskar Krishnamurthy. Starting as an engineer lead at Motorola and scaling heights through the roles at Navini Network, Southwest Airlines, and Fidelity Investment, Bhaskar co-founded Clopia in 2009. There, as SVP of Products and Marketing, he fueled his ascent until its acquisition by Cisco System. Now, as Chief Product Officer at CloudFabrix Software and Venture Partner at NS Angel Investor, Bhaskar continues to redefine the tech landscape. He also lends his extensive experience to the board of directors of Aarvik Inc. With degrees from Andhra University, the University of Texas at Arlington, and an MBA from the University of Dallas, Bhaskar merges profound technical expertise with strategic acumen. Now, let's give a warm welcome to Bhaskar, a visionary leader shaping the future of technology. Bhaskar, all yours.
Hi, thank you. Again, my name is Bhaskar Krishnamurthy. I'm one of the co-founders and Chief Product Officer at CloudFabrix. I just want to introduce my other co-founding team, Junutula, Ajay Penmetsa, and Satyan as well. This is our fourth technology startup from this leadership team. All previous startups are in network automation, security compliance, and data center and cloud management software, right? So we all came together in 2015 to start CloudFabrix with the vision of full stack analytics. When we say full stack analytics, rather than looking at each individual domain, whether it's application, network, security, we look at holistically from application to application infrastructure as well, physical infrastructure, network, etc., to give real-time insights and predictive insights. Of course, Gartner always have to come up with a new term for this called AI Ops. The space is called AI-driven IT operations, and now currently observability. So that's the space we are in. So all previous three startups coincidentally acquired by Cisco, but they were not funded by that, and we started this in 2015. Our headquarters is based on Pleasanton right here, East Bay, and we have offshore locations in Hyderabad and Gulbarga, Karnataka as well. We recently closed a prime round from Clear Ventures and Tri-Valley Ventures, and we've been recognized by analysts, and we have Fortune 500 companies like Kaiser Permanente, AT&T, Cisco, and Tata Communications. All right, now let me share the problem statement, then I can get into how we solve. I like this one because, as you all know, the speed is the name of the game, especially in the day of AI, right? I truly agree, fast fish eat small, slow fish, not the bigger fish, right? But what are the impediments to the speed, the complexity in today's IT environment, right? So the evolving environments, the hybrid IT infrastructure, you have data center, edge, cloud, SaaS, you name it, right? Different tools, different technologies. So how do you navigate through this, right, to get to the speed? So the current state, especially in the IT operations area, if you look at it, you take any enterprise, at least 30 to 35 tools they have, right, to monitor individual domains and specific, from application all the way to security and infrastructure. And they all spit thousands, millions of alerts, and the operations guys are inundated with this noise. So they end up spending a lot of time in the noise rather than the signal. In the meanwhile, your business is getting impacted. That is the problem statement, right? How do you fast detect the problem? How do you fast, resolve the problem and remediate the problem? So what do? It's like we pull all the data from all these data sources in the background. We run AI ML on top of it so that we can provide real-time visibility, real-time insights, and of course the predictive insights, so we can do faster MTD, faster MTTR, mean time to resolve, right? So your businesses are not getting impacted. But if you look at this AI ops and observability space, there are a lot of these big guys, right? Including our partners, IBM, Cisco, Dynatrace, Datadog, you name it, right? So how do we differentiate? So what the technology, what we call is robotic data automation fabric. That is our core IP. If you are all familiar with RPA, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with robotic process automation, which kind of automated a lot of this business process using bots and low-code pipelines, right? We kind of taken a similar approach in the data analytics realm, right? So use the same bots, low-code pipelines with using generative AI, now even zero code, right? So as you can see in the bottom, you have all these assets everywhere, and we unify, we bring all the data together so that all the solutions on top, whether it's AI ops, full stack intelligence, single pane of glass, you name it, you can achieve, right? If you double click, this is the space. Again, if you're not familiar with, that's fine. If you heard about Cribble and Edge Data, these are the companies in this space. What Gartner calls is observability or telemetry pipelines. Basically, you need this capability of chaining a lot of these data and AI ML tasks to achieve what you want to achieve. Especially in the agentic AI, this is one of the critical requirements, right? So now let me share some of the case studies. This is one of the largest service provider. I would say number one, you can guess the service provider. They have the same problem, right? So if you look at on the left side, so many tools that you might be familiar with, okay? But on the right side, this is what they want, RGY of apps, red, green, yellow, anomaly, detect anomalies, and the topology. They have so many. When they went to those vendors, they asked, hey, can you send me everything to me? Then I can get you that with a lot of professional services added. So that is where our platform comes into picture, where it can bring from all tools, any data from any tool to provide what the customer is asking, right? So some more storyboards, right? By the way, nowadays with AI and all, the static user interfaces and are all kind of a history, right? You need to tell a story. So this is one of the the storyboards we are releasing. It may look like PowerPoints, but they are real user interface. They can quickly put together by our customer and partners, right? It clearly shows from which tool you are getting how many alerts and how we are suppressing, deduping, correlating to get to what are the real problems and incidents that you should be paying attention to, right? So this is one more storyboard. But I mean, this is an eye chart, but it kind of tells you a story. From the left side, you have all the sources. Then how you process that data all the way from tools to data storage to how AI ML is going to process it so that you get what you're visualizing. This happens in real time, right? So these are some of the capabilities that our platform provides. Now this whole conference is about AI ML, right? How you leverage a lot of this AI ML in our solution. In our solution, the foundation is data fabric and automation, okay? So, and yesterday John Chambers was talking about, right? These AI models, everybody leverages almost same way. But if the data is the key. If you can, you should be able to harness the data to your advantage with the data preparation, data cleansing, data normalization, or applying AI ML on top of it. Otherwise, as we all know, garbage in, garbage out. So that is the foundation. Then before even Gen AI, agentic AI, you have machine learning, right? We use for the clustering, regression analysis, whatever you need to do a lot of these event correlation and reduce the noise. Now with generative AI, with both OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, or you can have your local Llama 2 models, so that you can leverage the technology to do incident summarization, incident recommendations, and smart routing, etc. Right? Now we are releasing the new wave agentic AI, right, with AI agents. So what you can do, I will give you a simple example in our world, right? If an L1 engineer gets a ticket, what will he do? He will look into a lot of fields. Hey, this may be related to application or a security problem, and does the smart routing. Now it can be entirely automated using AI agents, right? So my point is, we are leveraging a lot of these AI technologies where it's applicable. I strongly recommend not to do other way around, where you retrofit your solutions to leverage these technologies, right? So in summary, if you have to summarize in one line, we want to be the data fabric and automation for AI, right? Especially AI ops and observability and IT operations space. Oh, hope so.
We're going to shift a gear a bit here, and we're going to bring our keynote speaker, Varun Sharma. But before Varun comes on the stage, I have a mystery which you all need to solve by the time he finishes keynote. When I was reading about Varun, I was expecting somebody with gray hair who has achieved so much in life will show up. But here seems to be a young kid. So what we need to solve at the end of his keynote is he packing 5 years into 1 year, or he has a great anti-aging regime? We will need to know by the end of it. On that note, with that thing in your mind, let me introduce you to everybody. Our next trailblazer, Varun Sharma. Varun is truly a trailblazer in technology and a champion of philanthropy. Varun has been making waves since he began his journey of impact and innovation at the tender age of 20. Celebrated globally, he has graced stages from the Humanitarian Awards 2021, recognized by GMHA in association with UN, to landing a top spot on Fox News' prestigious 50 under 50. I think so with you, they should redefine the list. With a rich background in computer science from Amity School of Engineering, Varun burst onto the tech scene as a Python AI developer at NewGen Software Technologies. His entrepreneurial spirit didn't stop there. From launching a cutting-edge techno-fitness brand to co-founding transformative SaaS and edtech venture, Varun has turned visionary ideas into profitable realities. As the powerhouse behind Merafi Labs, now a part of Jet Synthesis, Varun continues to redefine the boundaries of AI and digital innovation. Beyond the boardrooms and court, he shapes public policy with the Confederation of India Industries, driving forward the tech agenda that's vital for our future. As an avid angel investor, Varun explores the startup ecosystem from India to the US, recently becoming an investor and non-executive director at Memboro, which is innovating content monetization for creators. So let's give a big round of applause for our rockstar keynote speaker, Varun Sharma, as he takes the stage to inspire us with his vision for a kinder and a smarter world. Varun, all yours.
I believe we are having this lecture just after the lunch, so half of us are already sleepy. The other half is still searching for their coffee. And I'm one of those half, to be honest. So I'll be speaking on the idea of responsible AI as an ecosystem. I think further paired up with the concept and the future of search and the biases which we are talking about as we move from the general paging algorithms for our searches to now leveraging everything AI and the general AI which exists. So I think I'm sure she has already introduced most of it, so I'll just run past it. But professionally, I'm a founder of Metafi Labs, which was an innovation hub and which was acquired by Jet Synthesis in the year, I believe, 2022. More so, I've also founded a responsible AI company called Warden AI, which has been in the stealth for the last 2-3 months, but which had its first, I would say, public launch, which was done by Pedro Sanchez, the president of Spain, and we work very closely with them. Apart from that, I've been a tech nerd all my life. I've worked on to, I would say, around 150 to 200 AI projects, and I think, of course, some of you guys must be wondering, did he start in his diapers? And I would say yes, I did. Apart from that, I'm closely advising a few governments on AI policies, of course, mostly around Europe as well, because that's where the golden standard is, and I'm sure she has mentioned that my association with public welfare. So usually I like to start with a couple of quotes, and in this case, I would say this is any tech bro's sweetheart, which is Elon Musk. So, as per his words, AI must be aligned with human values or it could have unintended consequences. And I'm sure I agree with it, and to really double down on what Mr. Musk has said, there's a word from yours truly. I agree, Elon, I agree. But I think that's where we shift to the fundamentals. So when we talk about the fundamentals, I believe we have all been riding the engine of how AI has been progressing and how everybody has an access. I see her ChatGPT open into her, in her iPad. But I think all of us have been riding the fact that AI has been one of the biggest change since whatever we could remember. If I had to say it, I think after the invention of electricity. I know I'm just a young guy, so that's what I would expect. But apart from that, I think there's one key question which we really need to ask us, that how do we, when we talk about AI or innovation, right? How do we do that without actually compromising on the ethicalities and the moralities of just human nature or human values? And this is precisely where I would be touching upon for the next 10-15 minutes, I believe. And I hopefully, that acts as a caffeine for most of you guys if you're feeling sleepy. But yeah, I think similarly, touching on top of it, we believe that I think AI has this unique dichotomy that on one hand, everything that we want to do, we are completely dependent from user personalization to any kind of efficiency, and even for enterprises, I believe, of course, every enterprise loves to cut costs and to increase their bottom line. And AI has worked as one of those efficient partners for them. But I believe if not acted completely or acted properly, it does lead to some certain biases. And when I talk about biases, that just comes from a very conceptual angle of how we see things on certain face values. In the case that I think if I get a lot more deeper into the similar concept, AI was built as a digital manifestation of how a human brain works, right? And as human brains, we form our perceptions, we form our thoughts, or we form our decisions on the basis of the experience we have had and the knowledge we have seen. And in the case of how AI is produced, again, it's just a simple thinking model of a very similar concept, which works on the same ideology of the data that you put, the knowledge that you put, the response that you get. And according to a study which was done by Stanford, I believe, which is very credible, at least if you are sitting in Silicon Valley, it was the fact that around 65% of all the models which are trained, they come with a certain bias. Now think about it from a very domino effect, because out of so many models which exist, if 65% of them really do have a certain bias which is linked up to them, to millions and billions of people who are using it, technically we are going against the standard word of democracy, which is the right to correct information, because we are standing from a baseline of biases. And that's the first portion of us vouching or us really focusing on the responsible aspects of AI and what it brings up. And as I've already written and as I really preach, it's the fact that I think this is not just a tech problem as of now. This has turned into a more societal problem, which of course you and I, all of us, are really a part of. Yeah. So I don't know why is it. Can you play that? So I just like to give a quick analogy. So we see a car jumping out of the cliff or just going out of the cliff. So if we had to pair it up with the direct analogy of where AI stands right now, I would say exactly at the edge of the cliff. And while we focus to build on these strong engines, while we, again, we see now 3.5, 4, AGI, all of these things are coming up. But not a lot of people are really focusing on the brake part of it, right? I think a Ferrari without a brake is as dangerous as something which we just saw on the screen. And catering to this exact, I would say, analogy is where we draw around some certain principles of how do we truly move forward. And I believe, for most of the corporates, this is also a very credible study which was done. I would say that only 26% of the corporates have really adopted to any responsible AI initiatives. And we are living in a world where, we have always, fought for society betterment in a way. In the sense that, of course, now corporates are setting up equitable future. They're setting up more inclusion into their team. And now there are teams which are being set up for a sustainable future. But all throughout, there has been no effort, or there has been, I would say, no initiatives which has been a part of the responsible AI narrative, especially at a scale at which we see it right now. And that for sure, I would say, brings about the opportunity to really tap into, because I believe, that's a part, along with the moral responsibility, this is something which is definitely an opportunity as well. And before, I move ahead to that, I would really like to also open up an example which really proves out the things which we have been saying. So I think, we talked about how AI has now turned into a way of consuming information as well. I think all of us, we tend to move to anything, or again, even the suggestions are now based out of an AI algorithm which is on the back end part of it. So the main focus or the main way of consumption, be it any information or be it any media, now that has to a certain sense been completely dependent on AI. And as we do that, we have seen a lot of stuff which is coming in, which could be of moral harm, which could be of societal harm. And one such example I do want to really double tap on, because I have worked very, very closely on it, was the case of Burkina Faso. So I'm sure a couple of familiar faces that I see there must have already heard about this case. But the other fact is that Burkina Faso is an African country with a certain problem of, certain, I would say, extremist group which are responsible for a lot of terror attacks, which are responsible for a lot of terrorism and expansion, especially in the Western nations, and they do have their own guerrilla artillery and their own warfare to really help facilitate that. So recently there came a huge wave of media which was going very popular, not just in Burkina Faso, but that was also a claim for an open funding or a crowdfunding to the Western nations. And that became a huge problem for everybody who was seeing it, because, as humans, we tend to empathize towards anything which is a bit emotional, right? But we got a mandate from one of the higher ups in the government in the western part of Europe. And we were given the responsibility to really finding out the source of truth. And that is precisely where modern AI also works on. So just between the moment we got this mandate to the point where we really got to finding the source of the truth, I think within 3 to 4 days, we were able to line it up to where is it coming from, what is the intention behind it, and what terror group is it linked to, and then doing our small bit of, small bit of correction or damage control, which we could have done. And in a matter of, I would say, 72 to 96 hours, we were able to reduce the whole, I would say, promotion, or the way in which they were scaling it up, or the social unrest which was coming up in Europe as well as which is coming up in Africa by somewhere around 70%. So if one small such initiatives at a certain small African nation level can do such big of an impact, imagine what could a bigger collaboration, or what could a bigger initiative do. And that lines up to the future trends of what we should be doing as individuals. I'm sure there are a lot of corporate leaders as well who are sitting there. I'm sure there is somebody from the government side or the public side as well. So my way of, I would say, acting on it is threefold. The first, for sure, being that we should be more human AI centric and human AI collaboration centric, in the sense that we, instead of us going to the extreme side, we build for a bit more human AI collaboration based systems which support decision making rather than which act onto their own. Second thing, of course, the regulatory oversight for I think we are already seeing the EU AI Act, and that being the gold standard. And personally, I'm involved in a lot of such policies which are also taking place, at least which puts out the standard for, while we build for scale, how do we build for scale? And that is where some certain alliances are also forming up. I think we all saw the Indo-Spanish alliance which is forming up, and now with us also being involved into that, we see the fact that how do we use the scale and the innovation of India, as well as the ethical, as well the moral frameworks of Europe and EU, and how do we build a system which is not just scalable, but also something where we know how to hit the brakes if things go bad. And I think we just come to the fact of the challenges which we are really seeing. I think the first set of challenge which we have seen is, I think, transparency is still a myth as of now. We still do not know why we see what we see. We still do not know what is the source of recommendation if we are getting some recommendation. We really do not see that on what ideas or on what thoughts or what knowledge base is a model trained on. So I believe if we come to a central an audit kind of a regulation or something which really focuses more also on the why part of why are we seeing this particular thing, or on what basis are these system placed, or on what basis am I getting an information which is biased to a certain case. And I think another thing which really maps back to the, to the same thing was the 2023 incident which really caused a public outage. And I think, which definitely leads towards the call to action of the fact that, if we want to lead the future of AI, I think we should be the, stewards. We should be on the driving seat of thinking about that how could a public, private and individual collaboration could lead to, first, the democracy which we talk about, that resonates in AI as well, that resonates in everything that we see, and that also resonates to the fact that what we are building is something which does not cause a social harm beyond a measure we cannot control. And I would, rather keep it more collaborative than me being on the stage and, telling all of you guys what we should be doing. So I'll just end it up with, just mimicking what a machine does. If they can speak in our language, I can also speak in zeros and ones. So this is my thank you to you. And thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me. And please, if somebody wants to ask something, I'm here. If not, thank you so much. I believe my explanation worked. Please. I work and I don't sleep. That's why I wear a specs, right? But I mean, you just asked how, right? You did not ask. Yeah, but thank you so much, guys.
I think so he deserves a much stronger round of applause. You know what? I'm sure at his age I was still worried about what I'm going to wear to the college. You're doing us really proud, Varun. On that note, we're going to go back to our rising stars because just like Varun, we have so many people who are doing so well in their life. I just want to tell you we have 2 more speakers left for rising stars. It's JP and Bharat. If anybody has joined us now and you had registered your name for rising stars and your name is not Bharat or JP and you're here with your deck, so please go at the back, give your deck to the team there and we will add you onto the list. Lata, I think so there is someone here. If you can help them with their deck. So our next speaker is Bharat, and we're going to go back into the world and future of biotechnology. Let me just tell you about Bharat because I was reading about him and the only word came to my head was, wow. The trailblazing founder and CEO of Spark Proteomics Inc. is on the cutting edge of biotechnology. Dialing from the cutting edge hubs of Menlo Park, California to Scottsdale, Arizona, Bharat is a pioneer at the thrilling intersection of nanotechnology, systems biology, and machine learning. With his groundbreaking invention, the sensor integrated protein on chip. Very difficult, I think so Bharat can only explain what the Spark technology is. He's revolutionizing how we study proteins. Imagine now, a world where thousands of full-length proteins are analyzed by a tiny 1.5 square centimeter biosensor chips, speeding up drug discovery, diagnostics like never before. Now that's the world Bharat is creating. A big round of applause for him. But wait, there is still more. Bharat is also the mastermind behind the FENT solid-state nanopore technology. If I'm butchering any of these words, Bharat, really sorry, I never took biology in school, you can see that, which promises DNA sequences that's not just 1,000 times faster, but also drastically more cost-effective. Thanks to his innovations, Bharat has attracted a whopping 18 million in private capital and secured around 8 million from heavyweights like DARPA and NIH. With a B.Tech from IIT Madras and a PhD from Arizona State University, Bharat isn't just a genius inventor. He is a visionary leader reshaping the very fabric of life sciences. Welcome on stage, Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you, Upasana. I was not sure if she was talking about me. Too many adjectives there. Thank you all. Thanks, Ram, for this opportunity. It's a pleasure for me to speak and follow up on the previous speakers. Amazing talks so far. As Upasana kind of introduced, we are developing something foundational in the field of proteomics. The technology is called SPOC, which stands for Sensor Integrated Proteome on Chip. What we're effectively developing is our cells in our body make proteins every day, trillions of them. They keep recycling them, cycling them, new ones. But try developing that in the lab. They're very, very complex and expensive. And I'll talk more about it. What we have done is we have developed a technology where you can produce full-length folded proteins on a biosensor chip with applications from drug discovery to diagnostics to precision medicine and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So as an introduction, proteins are the functional elements and drivers of biology. DNA is the blueprint. We talk so much about DNA and genomics because it's easier to synthesize, study, and understand. But proteins are key to understanding biological function. And again, cells make proteins, and as you can see on the right side, they're 3D folded, very complex moieties. And Dr. Jagath talked about this, so that's in your area of what you're doing. I'll talk more about that a little bit later on the drug discovery as well. Even antibody drugs that he talked about, they're very complex. And producing one and studying one is an intense task. In human body, there are 20,000 native proteins and millions of protein variants. And to understand disease, you need to understand proteins and these variants. A single variant, a small switch, a molecule attached to a protein can cause cancer, as simple as that. Next slide, please. These are the areas. So proteomics is study of proteins at scale. Drug discovery and development, AI drug design, which is big now. Biomarker discovery, diagnostics, precision medicine, vaccine development, synthetic biology. Across all these areas, the one thing that's common, next please. Do I have control here? Oh, I do, okay. Green one, thank you. Thanks so much. So the one thing that's common across all these is the need to source or produce and study thousands of proteins. And in wanting to do that, it takes a long time and it's very expensive. And there are two key challenges. That's one of the reasons why drug discovery, preclinical drug development takes many years. And in drug discovery, I don't know how many folks are familiar, 85% of drugs fail in clinical trials. 30 to 35% fail in safety in phase 1, and about 40% fail in phase 2 because they lack efficacy compared to the existing drugs. And that's just drug discovery, that's the first bullet point. So there are many areas, right? The first challenge is producing or synthesizing proteins to study them. Can you guess cost of sourcing one synthesized protein? Anyone? Except Dr. Jagath and his colleague there. Yeah. So it's $500 for a single protein if you want to just source it from a company like Thermo Fisher. That's the average price. And then to study, you have to have capital, equipment, et cetera, et cetera. So it takes really thousands of dollars. If you have a project that needs to study thousands of proteins, just imagine you need to have a budget of millions of dollars, right? As I said. But the second challenge, proteins derive their function by partnering with other proteins. By not just binding to something. So as we have seen, a great example of this is COVID. We have seen that in COVID, if you recall, spike protein always binds to ACE2 on human cell and invades and proliferates. That's common across all variants. But there are small single point mutations in some cases, but there are small mutations on the spike, edge of the spike, that changes the binding strength or how strongly it binds to the ACE2 on the cell, and which caused, as we have seen, which caused a change in disease, whether it's transmissivity, severity, and so on. Again, I'm simplifying it. There are more proteins involved, but at the core of it, protein derives its function from its 3D folding, the structure, and the strength of its binding. So the challenge in proteome biology or proteomics is how do you solve these twin problems? How do I produce proteins at scale at very low cost, like what we have for DNA sequencing? It's very cost. Now it's commoditized. Can we commoditize protein production first? Second one, can we do it in a way that I can get this kinetic data? Kinetic data. So that's where the protein functionality lies. And in drug discovery, in ADCs that Dr. Jagath spoke of, again, they bind and there's residence time. There's so much more into that biology. And getting to that is the core to get a successful product. So what we have developed is Spock technology, which elegantly addresses these two problems. My background is in nanoelectronics. That's where my PhD is. Then I have done 10 years of work in biotech. That's kind of where you see both interfacing. So on the left, you see the platform that we have developed. So cells produce proteins from DNA. So we take the same DNA and print it in nanowells created in silicon. Then we take cell juice or cell lysate is what it's called and introduce into those wells. And then cap it with a biosensor. And the need for biosensor is because biosensor is needed to get to that kinetic data. So once we cap it, the proteins that are produced, and as they are produced, they fold in their native, the cell lysate, and they're captured on the biosensor. And when I separate this out, I have really a biosensor chip, 1 centimeter or 1.5 centimeters square, with thousands of proteins on there, readily expressed, ready for my experiment, right? Here is an animation that kind of explains the process. Oops, I do not know how to launch the animation. Can you please help? Oh, thanks. So that's the nanowell slide. That's a silicon slide with wells in it. Microwells, nanoliter volume wells. They mimic cells, that's what it is. And then you print the DNA that encodes for unique protein in each of them, and you fill it with cell lysate. Now seal it with a biosensor chip that has a agent that captures the protein that's expressed. So each well expresses unique protein. Again, there's ribosomal machinery and the cofactors, everything is introduced into those wells so that they fold properly. And the core of protein function is protein folding, and we ensure that they fold well. And as they are folded, they're captured. And when you separate this out, you have a nice monolayer, very pure monolayer of these proteins, thousands of them on a chip. So it's a single step process for expression, purification, and experimentation. That's the idea. And as you can see, when we test with a drug molecule with 4 different mutations, you can see different kinetics. We have published a preprint earlier this year, so there's data on this. So you see 4 different, the first one, it binds to strongest. The 4th one, it binds to weakly, but the other mutations, it does not bind. And we have done this with COVID RBD variants in the publication that I don't have the data here, but we took an antibody and we assayed it, and there are some cases where from going from Wuhan and initial alpha delta to later Omicron, there's a 10x loss of strength of binding. And that kind of explains how the drugs work, etc. So we have built this proprietary technology called protein nanofactory, that's what we call. These are all modular instruments, fully automated. Each unit can make 16 chips at a time. Our end vision is, can we democratize proteomics? Can we make it like really cookies, which is impossible today? And make it functional. It's not just making proteins, but you have to make sure that they fold properly and they're functional. And we have launched, we have started talking about, actually we launched this earlier this year. We have been working on this for 7 to 8 years. And when we talk to potential customers, our initial plan was to make these protein chips and offer to biopharma academic labs. But when we talk to biopharma and AI drug discovery companies, we discovered that there are pain points that we could solve. So we changed our business model, and now we are focusing on custom biopharma projects where there's significant pain points that we could solve. One is antibody affinity maturation, so using VHH CFEs. So that's kind of where we are going. Our ultimate vision, as I said, is to really democratize proteomics. That's where core of, if you want to solve disease, simple, whether it's drug, using therapeutics or diagnostics, both, at the core, you have to solve proteomics, because that's at the core of function, biological function. So this is, on the left, you see 1,000 different proteins on a 1 centimeter square chip. It's a 15 cross 8 millimeter, and each spot represents a protein location, a unique protein. It could be a unique protein. On the right side, and by the way, this is in the published preprint, which is in now under review at a peer-reviewed journal. On the right, you see 2,400 different proteins on the same area. So we could really scale it up. And imagine, for your case, having whole proteome to do off-target kind of analysis. That's what one of the asks we are getting. And that's where we are working on towards soon, hopefully. So after speaking with potential customers, we changed our plan. We are going for drug discovery first, than other markets. In that, within drug discovery, there are multiple areas to help down select thousands of molecules that drug companies develop. Which is the best one to take forward? That's one question. This epitope, there's more in biology of it that we can help with. There is something called plasma proteomics. I don't know how many folks are familiar with it. So if you want to develop, if you want to identify DNA biomarkers, you do sequencing, right? How do you identify protein biomarkers in blood? That's called, that whole area is called plasma proteomics. The current leader is Olink, that was acquired by Thermo Fisher for $3 billion. What they can do is, they can detect the expression or the amounts of proteins in blood, thousands of them, 10,000s of them. But they're expensive, and one of the key things that they do not do, all the current ones do not do, is they cannot identify the variant, whether it's mutation or PTM variant, of that particular plasma protein. And that's what we are positioning this as. We could not only detect the quantitative amounts of it, we could actually come with a secondary antibody that's specific to specific mutations, and we could identify that particular thing, which has huge clinical relevance, as you can expect. Our final area would be diagnostics. Our first test is multi-autoimmune diagnostic test that we're developing. Today, if you go to clinic, you have to take 4 to 5 different blood draws, 4 to 5 different blood draws over 6 months to get to identifying the specific autoimmune this one would have. And my wife has autoimmune disorder, so I have actually been through that. And there's no reason why we are going for autoimmune first. It just happens that the biology works better in that disease. And there's so much competition in cancer, so we said, okay, let's do autoimmune first. So we are developing a single blood test where we can draw from a single blood draw, and it's only 100 microliters of blood, where we can really analyze a large number of antigens. There's, again, more biology to it, but we can identify not only the subtypes, but we can also do prognosis of it. One key, again, because you folks are so much into AI, I wanted to mention this before I close. There's a revolution that's happening when you use AI in drug design. There's $50 billion that's been invested in this space, in large biopharma to startups. There's a company called Zyra that was just out of the university, funded at $1 billion. Some of you might know. The whole idea here is we use data to train AI models, then predict a new de novo molecule, or improve the existing molecule. And therein lies the problem, because almost everyone uses public data sets, existing data from drug discovery campaigns previously over the last 1 or 2 decades, and that is really small amount of data. So there is huge need for a large data going forward, billions of data points to trillions of data points, and we could really help on that. And we have been contacted by 10 AI design companies to support that. That's the framework of the number of AI first companies, not even companies that use AI. These are the AI companies that start with de novo synthesis de novo design using AI models. And we could potentially be a platform that can test those AI design molecules and also generate data at scale at fraction of the cost, 110 to 100 compared to any other, to train those models further. So that's where we are positioning. This is my team. Our headquarters is in Scottsdale. I and a smaller number of, part of the team is based out of Menlo Park. This is our scientific advisory board. I'd be happy to take any questions if you have. And thank you so much for this opportunity and your patience. Sorry.
Question. Yes.
I think they changed the slide deck. Yeah, please go ahead. I remember.
Hi. Great talk, great technology. I'm from the era of Affymetrix chips back in the old days of using photolithography and whatnot. My question is can you also discern post-translational modifications such as the phosphoproteome, glycosylation profiles? Because as you know, not only is the proteins have protein-protein interactions, but it's also a byproduct of something that has already happened or will happen after treatment of the therapy.
Yes. So to answer your questions, in the preprint we have published, we have demonstrated phosphorylation, I think citrullination, and in a previous paper with our collaborators at ASU, we have even shown glycosylation patterns. But glycosylation is much, much more complex in cell-free systems, as you pointed out. So there are new cell-free systems that are being developed that actually do glycosylation in eukaryotic systems. So there is work being done, but I would say other than glycosylation, almost everything is pretty doable right now in our system. You could either co-express with the enzyme that, you know what I mean. So phosphorylates or glycosylates or what have you, or you could do it post-synthesis as well. We have demonstrated this multiple ways of doing this.
Hi, I'm Venkat Konda. I'm coming from chip side because you're calling it Spark chip. So my question is more from semiconductors point of view as well as computational point of view. So what kind of magic is happening there? From a computational perspective on that chip?
Actually, there's nothing there.
Okay.
It's core innovation in biology that uses semiconductor microfabrication in the simplest way.
But you don't do any computation there?
We do it after. Once you generate those kinetic data, yes. For example, when I said we are going to use this platform to develop a multi-autoimmune diagnostic test, which not only would subtype but would also do therapy matching, those things. I can give you an example, but the whole idea is there we would use machine learning because there is no way, there's no, using previous bioinformatics approaches, there's no way to do that kind of, so you have to do learning, machine learning. So we are going to do that. Yes, we are doing that, but very elementary right now.
So you do that kind of a computation offline with the machine learning?
Yes.
Not on the chip, Spark chip?
No, not on the Spark chip. No.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
We have another question here.
My understanding of your description concerning cancer.
Sorry?
Concerning cancer.
Cancer?
Cancer, yeah. It can be used for diagnostics. Does your technology very useful in cancer drug discovery?
It's agnostic. I would let Dr. Jagath and others speak, but you have a target. So we actually have I can give you an example rather than address that directly. We created a CD20, which is a cancer target, deep mutational scanning, where we changed, on the epitope, we changed each amino acid with alanine and 3 others, and used it to test with existing FDA-approved drugs. And we are going to publish that early next year. So it's agnostic, is my answer. So, but the drug discovery companies are the ones that would use it for whatever their pipelines are or the interests are.
Just in this aspect, I have just a simple observation. What happens in cancer, what affects the treatment, what happens in the microenvironment, which is uncontrollable. more than 200 mutations, loss of pathways, no one can predict whatever happen over there. So that is the reason why small molecule drug discovery is stalled. So in this respect, can protein helps, or it will be the same scenario as
No,
small molecules?
one way that we are proposing this is positioning this, which actually helps the question you're talking about, is think of a target. Let's say take any cancer. HER2 is a great example, right? What if we express ECD domains of HER2 with all those key mutations, or let's say RAS or RAF, all are oncogenes, oncodrivers genes. So you could do all that on the platform and then take the drugs and see if the binding kinetics change, and you can actually select for either the mutation-specific molecule or drug molecule to take it further, or you could select for broad binding. Does that answer your question? So there is multiple ways we could use this, and mutational, yes, we are actually developing those things, yes.
Just to some extent, because what happened in the microenvironment, you can find a target.
Yeah.
You put it as a drug. What happens in the microenvironment may inhibit.
Yeah, it's too complex. I agree.
Yeah, that's the reason I say it may help, but still, I think the problem, cancer problem, will continue.
That is further downstream. So what we would help is to down select, but the follow-on in vivo and then clinical trials are actually. So we are talking. We right now are entering.
Can I
Yes.
interrupt in the interest of time? Can we have this offline? Thank you.
Thank you so much. By the way, thank you again.
Thank you, Bharat, for such an insightful presentation. You know what caught my attention, Bharat? And I might need your phone number for that. That your research is actually, to some point, inspired by your wife's autoimmune disorder. And you actually felt her pain. I need my husband to call you. Seriously, all the husbands take this lesson. If you can feel your wife's pain, everyone's life is going to be better at home. On that note, I'm going to call our next speaker. And our next speaker today is JP. And JP is a trailblazer in the world of AI-driven solutions and the visionary founder of IARA Inc. JP has masterfully steered IARA Inc. into a new frontiers of revenue life cycle management, ingenuously closing the operational gaps between sales, billing, and finance with cutting-edge AI technology. Under his strategic leadership, IARA Inc. has become synonymous with innovative quoting, pricing, optimized billing strategies that are tailored for consumption-based model, enhancing transparency and efficiency across business operation. JP's profound expertise and technical insights have positioned IARA as a beacon in the enterprise software landscape, especially with complex corporate ecosystems. With stellar track record of accelerating revenue processes, boosting deal velocity, and fostering profitable growth, JP continues to be a pivotal force in redefining revenue management for global enterprises. Without going any further, JP, it's your presentation. Please come and join us on the stage. A big round of applause for JP. Thank you. Any manual on how to use the clicker?
This one, right?
Oh, you figured it out. You
I'll
figured
figure
out
it
such a complex platform, I'm sure.
Sometimes we can't figure out simple things. Okay. Thank you. You did a great job on pitching for my project. So I have to do a better job. Once again, thank you for all staying back. I know I'm the last speaker. One more done. Even that, let's do for the next speaker for the courage, and also let's do the finish strong. And first of all, thank you for Ram arranging this. And first, we need to give a big round of applause to Ram and his team. So I think I'm here to take his kind of few minutes about what we are doing. And before that, as she explained about them, 20 years experience in enterprise world. And we have seen the many issues in enterprise, how they run the business. Most of the time, more than a technology, and the people comes and create the challenges. So how you can kind of focus on that. In the area that we focused into the new thought leadership came for the last 6-7 years working on the revenue lifecycle management. There's a new innovation coming other than the ERP systems. So just kind of a quick background about it. So the new revenue lifecycle management, the problem solving is how sales can run efficiently and how the back office post-sale can do their revenue compliance process. So in that process, we saw the many gaps the software was already around, and how the enterprise solving this problem is most of the manual process. Then 3.5 years ago, the team came up that why can't we use AI engine and create the uniform model, and then just create the pre-sales, make the more successful runs and the pre-sales, and similarly provide the post-sale for the revenue compliance. I think we have our team put together this 2 minutes video, and can you play?
Transform your revenue lifecycle with Ayara, redefining the way organizations forecast, recognize, and maximize revenue with unmatched precision and confidence. Ayara is an AI-driven revenue management solution that unifies revenue operations and revenue recognition, bringing together sales, revenue operations, finance, and accounting teams for seamless collaboration. Ayara delivers real-time revenue and margin insights on quotes, factoring in pricing, discounts, and terms to accelerate approvals and optimize revenue and margins. Powered by AI, Ayara forecasts revenue that spans the entire revenue lifecycle, aligning with all business models and financial guidance. Ayara automates revenue recognition as per ASC 606, IFRS 15, adapting to business complexities and scaling with growth. Ayara, embedded in RLM platforms like Salesforce, Conga, and Oracle CPQ, integrates with major ERPs on a unified platform to provide scalable, end-to-end automation. Ayara offers actionable insights using our AI algorithms, comprehensive dashboards, and real-time analytics guiding leaders to manage performance and meet business goals effectively. While industry analysts emphasize the value proposition of Ayara and recognizes its product innovation, our customers are already experiencing its benefits. With a unified, industry-focused, and persona-centric platform, Ayara delivers unmatched business value through comprehensive revenue lifecycle management, ensuring compliance, accurate forecasting, and actionable insights.
So that's about the Ayara. I think probably you understand how the problem is being solved. And then I want to cover 3 more points, how we are solving this problem in using the AI, enabling the AI time GMT, some of the algorithms, and bringing the revenue forecast accuracy for the conversion building. This is some of the use case. I'm not going to go detail. I'm just giving high level, and increasing the pre-sales perspective deal velocity. And third important thing is like how the organizations like looking for the sales and finance always fight for the forecast versus their real revenue. That is the place that Ayara strongly built the platform to enable the business users to use it in real time, and reducing the time of the deal cycle closing and increasing the revenue, and then also increasing the bottom line. And while you're doing the pre-sale and then also the post-sale, the revenue compliance is done by 606. So this is currently in competitive landscape, a couple of companies are doing it, but they're only focusing on the post-sale. Then we looked at the end-to-end solution from all the way sales to finance, and provide this product in part of our distribution method, which is basically partnered with the Salesforce and Conga and Oracle. When they're selling a software, they're also embedding our software and selling it. That's a distribution model that we are using. And also we directly can sell our product. And then I just want to talk about the market perspective that that's of course, anytime you're looking at it, what the revenues out there for investment standpoint. So far, this whole product self-funded, with some of our co-founders also here. And we have not raised any money yet. And then right now, we are doing roughly about the total contracts, we are doing around $3 million within 4 customers. And then 2025, we are going to start the new GTM. And so far, we didn't raise. That's the reason first time we are presenting the outside audience to see if we can raise some money to focus on to increase the revenue for the sales aspect of it. So, and then comes ultimately if any problem solving without a foundational team who has passion about it, who are conviction about what the problem solving, how we are solving, and we can solve it, is we believe in our team brings the depth and breadth, solving the problem, and then also cater to the large enterprise to make impactful on their business journey. And some of the customers that you see already signed up, as I mentioned, the revenue already, and some of the strong pipeline we have. And then what we are looking is some of the interested people who are really interested in the finance aspect of it and sales aspect of it. They want to be part of the board and advisory roles. They can be part of our GTM. And then also we are opening up the Series A for this company to raise some money to go for the part of GTM. And we have a strong pipeline, we'll continue to do that. And then one ask from all of you guys, if anybody interested, let's transform the revenue, the lifecycle management, impact, and together. Thank you so much.
With that customer pipeline, I'm happy to come in any role you have for me, seriously. It can get bigger, and knowing the revenue for all these customers will be my life-changing experience. So it's an open offer. He has that pipeline, and he can tell you about the revenues, how to manage them. Thank you, JP, for such a great presentation. And with that, we have our last presenter of the day coming on the stage. You know, most of the time when you go to conferences, they are late. We are early. We should be kudos for that. We are finishing on time so that you can go attend in the next door, whatever is happening. So before you do that, please wait. We have dynamic Andy Pandharikar joining us. He's the CEO and founder of Commerce AI. Andy stands at the forefront of AI-driven commerce innovation, from his early days shaping key products at Cisco to his role in a groundbreaking venture acquired by Flipkart and ultimately Walmart in a historic $16 billion deal. Andy's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. With MS from Stanford and an executive degree from Harvard, his academic credentials are as impressive as his professional pursuits. A passionate angel investor with SF Angels Group, Andy supports the next generation of startups. Beyond boardroom, he's an outdoor enthusiast, an ultra-marathoner, and a certified lead rock climber, embodying the spirit of both endurance and adventure. As we close today's session, let's give a big round of applause for Andy, a true trailblazer dedicated to transforming the landscape of commerce through AI. Andy.
I'm the last one. Not the least. Save the best for the last. How does it work? All right, so thank you for staying up, and thank you, the organizers. Thank you for recognizing us as part of the rising star and most promising AI startup, one of the most promising AI startups. I guess the word promising here in the world of AI, the AI is moving so fast, the word promising probably means promising to keep up with the fast pace of AI. It's moving really fast. It's moving faster than some of us can type. You miss one announcement from OpenAI, and you will see hundreds of startups disappearing. There is an announcement every day. There is new models, there are new LLMs, there are RAG systems, memories, there's announcements Mondays, Tuesdays. One framework can create new startups and make hundreds of startups change the trajectory. So I guess that's the promise that we're making to keep up. Although we are not just keeping up, we are leading the pack of AI companies. It's very exciting. So we see as an opportunity that the AI is moving so fast because our mission is very simple. Our mission is to activate unstructured data. Unstructured data as text, voice, video, images, 45 quintillion bytes of data created every day. That's 10 to the power of 48. And 90% of today's data is unstructured, text, voice, video. So how do you activate that? How do you use AI techniques to take actions, make decisions, help enterprises? And that's the mission. It's not a new mission. We started 6 years back. Walmart started us when our previous company was acquired by Walmart. Walmart CTO helped create Commerce AI. And the goal was to, same thing, activate unstructured data. They had a ton of text and voice and video they're looking at. So how do you take actions? So what we built over the period of time is a platform. It started with a solution for one company. Now it's a platform. We're across different verticals. There are hundreds of customers. Started with retail, but we have healthcare, pharmaceutical, insurance. And 6 years, we are a profitable company, growing very fast. And we're learning. We're learning as fast as the AI is evolving. Recently, I had an honor to be at this table, along with some of the big world leaders, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, OpenAI founder, President Greg Brockman. The reason why we were there, because we were working with OpenAI for the last 3 years. We were the first one to bring generative AI in contact center space. So a lot of our customers are in call center, contact center space. So we were the first one to bring that. We were the first one to bring in the regulated industries, healthcare, pharmaceutical. So we were asked to teach some of them our experiences. It was a fascinating time. We were teaching them, we were explaining them. I was explaining Satya Nadella how we're doing this in Gen AI. And I was listening to them. So it was a great experience. I was listening to them, such a sharp minds. And it was pretty obvious last year, the future of AI is agentic AI. Everybody was excited last year about agentic AI. Now everyone is talking about agentic AI. We've been building last 1 year. We've been deploying it. It's really difficult to build agentic AI. It's easy to talk about it. It's very difficult to build it and very difficult to deploy. Even more difficult is to scale it. So we've been working with customers, and today we're officially launching the agentic AI framework. We call it Auto Agents. So Auto Agent is the evolution of next-gen agentic AI. And what's unique about it is that it's designed for voice, for real-time operations. It works hand in hand with human agents. It works in contact centers. It works in customer experience, sales experience, employee experience. It handles some of the tasks autonomously, more automated fashion. So our mission is the same. Our mission is to transform companies using unstructured data activation. I'm excited about this agentic AI, but what I'm more excited about is the future of agentic AI. I'm sure there are a lot of companies here talking about agentic AI, but the future is what we're excited about. You know, the agent's AI can take over tasks, automated way, autonomous way, but what's more interesting is the proactive nature of futuristic agentic AI, the proactive nature. That's the interesting part. So for example, on healthcare, the agents can not only take up the task, but anticipate the need to take action. You know, it can monitor the system in healthcare, but it can proactively suggest to take an appointment. In banking, it can monitor your portfolio, but proactively suggest to balance the portfolio. And that's the agentic AI we're excited about. We are deploying it, and I'm really interested in talk to you about that. And that's the future I'm excited. So here's to the future of agentic AI. I'm Andy Pandharikar. We are Commerce AI. Would love to talk about agentic AI and have a great day. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good presentation. Great idea of the agentic AI. How do you verify on a routine basis and validate, in summary, how faithful your agentic AI is doing, where it's not doing it right? Either it's 100% perfectly right all the time, or when it's not being able to be proactively responsive at the right time.
I think you have a loaded question. There are techniques in monitoring. Well, none of the AI is 100% right. It's a statistical model, right? So there are techniques to monitor. There are techniques to... So let me explain this. Right now, humans are doing the work. Are humans 100% right? No. So we have the same systems to do quality checks. So we have, well, I guess we're solving AI with AI. There are AI agents which are doing autonomous tasks, but there are AI agents which are monitoring the AI agents. The quality checks are also done by AI agents. And again, there are humans in the loop, and there are a lot of details in the system. I'm sure you have follow-up questions, and I'm happy to take it offline. But there are humans in the loop which would understand and take these actions, and then there are systems in place. So again, nothing is 100% right, but this is the future that we're right now. So for example, in the call center space, right? Only 1% of the calls were quality checked. With AI, you can do 100% of the quality checks, and that's phenomenal. Right, thank you.
My question is about the unstructured data, which is a big problem in enterprise. And the core of the unstructured data is PDF, Microsoft Word, PPT, you name it. Each one has different versions in addition to the legacy data. Do you address all those types, or you only focus on PDF, which is predominant? So do you deal with all of it or just part of it?
Activating unstructured data is a mission, as you say. As I was saying, it's been at it for 6 years. And the types of data that are activated are changing over the period of time. Earlier, only text was actionable. Now voice is actionable. Then images would be actionable. Videos would be actionable. So I know your question is specifically about data PDF. But
no, I am following the classical definition of unstructured data. Structured data, database. Semi-structured, emails. Unstructured, PDF, PPT, whatever. That is a cut short. So it seems true. In the internet now, they say unstructured data, but they mean text, video, and sound. It seems you don't approach the traditional unstructured data as it is defined.
It's a loose definition. I think the definition of structured data is the data that can fit in rows and columns. And unstructured data, that is flat files or raw files. And those data is now actionable, and actionable in more autonomous and more automated way. Right.
We have another question here.
Hi, great presentation, by the way. 2 questions, very small. One is, you talked about the audio, like real-time audio conversation, right? Usually there is a delay when we are talking about like time to first token, TTFT, it varies a lot. So one is, how did you tackle that? And second is, I think OpenAI has that audio, the real-time audio conversation API. Are you leveraging that, or is that completely out of the question? So just these 2.
Yeah, it's a good question. So the real-time agentic AI is really hard, because one is the delay, and that's where our core technology is. One is the delay, and the second is cost. So if you're sending every single sentence to OpenAI, for example, it's going to be more expensive than human. So there is no use case. So that's where our framework comes in, is how do we approach the LLM interaction? And I'll leave it at that. But yes, these are two different, two very big problems. Time, real time, and the cost. Thanks.
A question about the communication between the agents. So you're talking more about the multi-agent system, I guess, right? So how reliable is this communication? And if something happens in this communication between the agents, how reliable, the same, it goes back to the question, whether it's faithful or the confidence level. Exactly. What is the percentage or something like that? So do you have some insight?
Yeah, so I made a statement at the beginning. The world of AI is moving so fast. There are techniques, there are tools, framework. A lot of it is work in progress. And so we have a system which is deployable and which are monitorable. But there are systems that are getting built that are futuristic, like multi-agent and things like that. Which are, the framework is constantly evolving. So our customers, so the AI is moving fast, but the customers are moving slow. And so the nature of AI companies nowadays is to switch this AI framework very fast, but make sure that you keep up the slow pace of the customer evolution. So we won't deploy until customer is ready to do. And so that's the balance we're doing here. Music is most undifficult. Oh, most difficult unstructured data is music. Okay. I guess on that note, let's end this presentation. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Andy. I really like that picture of you and Satya Nadella on the table. Perfect. He made a disclaimer that's not AI, that actually happened. Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for those who are over here with us. Thank you for all your questions. You're filling up the room with your energy. This discussion, the insightful discussions we had wouldn't have happened. You really dialed up the excitement, engaging with the presenters who are defining the future of AI, ML, and deep tech. I'm thankful for everybody who has stayed back, because it's your energy who made this discussion very insightful. Here, a big round of applause to all the rising stars, the visionaries who are going to disrupt the market, change the world for us, and make it a better future for all of you. Thank you, everyone. Have a very good evening, and thank you for joining us.